Tyler, let's get it started. As the Black Eyed Peas would say, let's get it started up.
Let's get it started in here.
She-Hulk episode 4, I will say, right out of the gate, probably my favorite episode.
Yeah?
I really enjoyed this episode. Because I think the show started to find its groove last episode, and I think now we're really in... I think it's kind of shown you where it is in the Marvel Universe and where it is in the MCU.
We're starting to see that arc that we've been talking about for weeks, which is she's understanding that, like, hey, as She-Hulk, the guy's hot to trot with her, and in the morning, she's not. And it's like, oh, I got to go. And it's like, well, that kind of sucks.
See, the thing is... that's such a weird.
Should we just talk about the elephant in the room? How the grifters want to talk about
honestly,
rape culture?
I'm glad you brought. I'm glad you brought.
They
want
to talk about rape culture existing for men, but not for women.
Well,
is basically what they're saying when they're decrying the scene where she takes him off to the bed. I would love for a woman to take me off to the bedroom. Fuck yeah.
If this were a He-Hulk show, if this were a regular Hulk show, I think they wouldn't care.
No, if he picked up a woman and took her to the bedroom?
No, and I don't really want to... This is the thing that sucks. I would like to just talk about this show by itself. But I will say this, that anybody that's trying to tell you that she raped this guy in any way are fucking idiots. Yeah. Just because she transformed back to Jen. She didn't rape anybody. And that whole thing is stupid. And, well, let's kind of just talk about it, I guess.
Sounds like a lot of people saying that was rape have had sex with somebody who still had a dick and maybe found out about it the next day, Yeah. And they're like, hey, man, that's not cool. I'm like,
whatever, man.
Well, this show holds up a mirror to these fucks, and they don't like it. There's a reason.
I just want to talk about this scene in general because I think it's kind of a weird read because on one hand, I understand the point of the scene is to illustrate that, okay, he was interested in She-Hulk. He wasn't interested in Jen. Mm-hmm. And there's the other hand of it, like, well, did he know that she could change back? There's also that feeling of, like, should we really think this guy's an idiot or, like, a dick? Because did he know that she could change back? So, I don't know. I think that is me just looking too much into it. But on one level. On another level, I think it's great and it works to the story because she says when she turns into She-Hulk and makes that account, she goes, this is going to hurt Jen.
I'm not proud of this.
No, and then she says, this is going to hurt Jen's ego. So she's already kind of splitting She-Hulk and Jen right there, which I think is interesting and again, true to the character and what she is. And I think the reason I liked it so much is because so much of it focused on her personal life. Yeah. I think this show is so much better when it focuses on Jen because it's her fucking show.
Yeah.
Like the first date she's on is funny. That when they're playing the super dramatic music when she's grabbing her purse and he's grabbing his wallet. Like that's such a funny moment.
That guy's such a douche.
Right.
There's so many guys like that.
Right, and again, that's what I think the show is starting to hit its stride and starting to understand what it's trying to do. I think those first 3 episodes were kind of getting the audience adapted to what they're trying to do, because we've never had a comedy in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we've never had a straight up comedy in the MCU that is so self-referential and so meta
to the whole MCU, and not just its own show,
right.
But it's very tongue in cheek and it's very successful at deconstructing the MCU into kind of exactly that's what makes me laugh about the show is these grifters like this should be their favorite show.
Yeah,
because it makes fun of the MCU and all this like, but I mean to me it's the perfect answer to all the trolls who hate the MCU for one reason or another. And look, I'm not saying you can't hate something. Of course you can. But if you're just hating it because saying you hate it makes you money and gets you clicks, well, who's really being dishonest here? You know?
Right.
And this show should be your favorite show.
And that's the thing. Most of the people that
it's brilliant about how it deconstructs everything and makes everything like, yeah, you know what? We are talking about some silly shit.
And most of the people that make content bashing on this don't even watch the episodes.
No.
Most of the time they just watch the clips. Like her taking him to... And then when they do review the clips, oh my God, dude... It is the most nitpickiest fucking whiny shit I've ever heard.
Oh, yeah.
There's one thing to have criticism, and then there's one thing to nitpick and bitch and moan about every single fucking frame of the fucking show.
Yeah.
And it's just a way, and that's why this week I really wanted to talk about how much I loved this episode and how good this show really is. And I feel like this is what
I liked the twist with Titania at the end. How she's
suing her for copyright.
She's like, yeah, I've seen a process server before, dude. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well, yeah, that was pretty funny.
You think so, Your Honor? Get out of here.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
We got to talk about Madison. We got to talk about.
I honestly,
Madison.
when I first saw her, I was like, ugh, I hate this kind of woman. This kind of human being, we should say. There are plenty of guys like that too.
Well, the woo. Party
just
type.
just shut up, right?
Hey,
but
man, those people are fun.
As the episode, right? As the episode went on, yeah, I mean they're flaky as fuck, and yes. Small doses you can't count on for shit. Whatever,
you can't keep that up.
It's fun, yeah. It's not sustainable. But dude, as the episode went on, and we kept seeing more and more of her, like I started like. By the end stinger where she and Wong are just hanging out.
So funny.
So great.
Good.
I honestly was like, now I want to see a buddy comedy with Wongers and Madison with a Y. But not where you think.
Did you see the news lately? Yeah, Benedict Wong, he had to have like serious back surgery because he's carrying fucking Phase 4 this whole time. Because Wong has carried Phase 4, my man. He's been fantastic. Seriously, I
know. I seriously thought you had like something to say.
Yeah,
and you were just making a joke, and I'm like,
I got him.
The face I made was because the joke was
You're pissed
lame.
because I got you.
Yeah.
No, but dude, Benedict Wong is so good, and he has so much chemistry with everybody he's on screen with.
Isn't it interesting how lucky it is that his real last name
character's
is Wong?
name is Wong? But yeah, and dude, the fact again, it does an amazing job of grounding this world, just kind of like how Daredevil did and Luke Cage and all those Netflix shows, on a very different scale, much more serious tone, obviously. But it does a great job of showing slice of life people in the MCU. That, of course, Jen is going to keep being She-Hulk, and of course she's going to be she's eventually going to be an Avenger. I mean, of course, they're going to need a Hulk, right? But just to see like Wong watching the fucking Sopranos is funny. It's just funny because he's in the car. How do you say Carmitage?
Yeah, Carmitage.
The Carmitage, and he's just fucking watching HBO Max. He's watching the Sopranos. Yeah. It's hilarious. And then the fact that she fucking keeps spoiling it, which is funny because I keep telling myself one day I'll watch it, and then she keeps spoiling it.
I never cared for The Sopranos when it was on. I remember I had a girlfriend.
Also, the people complaining, that show's been out since 2001. Fuck off.
We started dating, and I moved in with her at one point because I had to. I couldn't pay my own rent or whatever. And I didn't have a job, and one day I was really high, and I just decided to watch. She had season 2.
Woke up this morning.
Shut up.
She had fucking theme.
Yeah, she had season 1 on DVD, and so I started watching
get yourself
it.
A gun?
No, I started watching it. I watched the entire first season. I was like, wow, this is really good. Da da da, and then I just forgot about it.
Yeah.
Because it was still on TV at that point. I think it was however many seasons there were, it was like the second to last season when I started watching that first. And then when I heard how the show ended, I was like, I'm glad I didn't watch anymore.
You know what I just realized? I still have to watch The Wire, and I said I'll watch it at the end of the year. We're in September, dude.
And David Chase himself has stated, the guy who did Sopranos, he himself has stated the reason why the finale goes to black is because Tony Soprano gets whacked at that moment.
I love the fact that people just lost their shit on that finale. It's amazing. Anyway, back to She-Hulk. Also, is Donnie Blaze, is that a reference to Johnny Blaze?
See, that was kind of tripping me up too. I don't know. It seems like they wouldn't be so I know, but it seems like they wouldn't be so cavalier about that.
I think it might just be a joke.
It might be a tongue-in-cheek reference, but I hope not. Or I hope so.
Yeah, because I don't want him to be like Johnny Cage's brother or something. That'd be stupid. I mean, or Johnny Blaze.
Maybe his real name is Dan Ketch.
That's what I was thinking. I thought it was going to be like Danny Blaze and like, they mixed Danny Ketch with Johnny Blaze. That's funny.
That's the problem I still have with the MCU is they sometimes throw away characters but again, I know. Here's the thing: we're not shills for Disney because we don't get a check.
I wish
we don't like everything that comes out of there. But honestly, sometimes you just want to say, "Hey."
Yeah, don't you think if we were Disney shills, we'd be at D23? We'd be in Anaheim.
Fucking
you fuckers. You fucking. I wish we could have gone to D23, but
would have been awesome.
I just think it's also
they're never gonna ask us now because we've already broken apart the next 2 phases,
Yeah,
5 and 6.
They don't want to see what happens with Phase 4 and Phase
MCU no dicks.
Phase
no dicks.
Phase no guys. Phase no dicks. Because Phase 5 was no guys, and then
see my question is like
another thing that I really liked this episode is again it does a great job of being just a silly show, like, and it just embraces how silly it is, and that's what I said about last episode. I said it's finally starting to embrace the silliness of it.
Well, the last episode,
I mean, we literally had the third act of her fighting fucking gremlin demon things that turned into like,
which was a pretty funny
animals.
sequence.
Yeah, it was funny.
It shows, like, here's the thing is all the people saying they don't like it, like, they keep asking us for arguments why the show is good. We've given to you many of them.
Well, and they missed the point completely of the show.
The notes, the character of She-Hulk in that scene hits all the right notes.
Yes.
She's pretty much impervious, and she knows it, and it's more of an annoyance than anything.
And he's like,
and
stop
she's still
talking.
yeah, because she's still, and She-Hulk, if nothing else for any other reason, she is the one superhero in the Marvel universe in comics that is most tied to her personal life, except for maybe Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man and maybe She-Hulk, but they're both very. Their stories are always very grounded in their personal lives, and that's what makes them fun.
Well,
characters.
and again, I think
that was what makes them relatable.
We talked about this last episode, and they also released a mid-season trailer. So I think
I saw that. I haven't seen it.
Daredevil's coming next.
Yeah. I don't want to watch mid-season trailers. I just want
to watch the fucking show. But again, like we said last week too, I think She-Hulk is really laying the groundwork to have, which is smart. I think there needs to be like Disney Plus heroes. There just needs to be Daredevil should stay on Disney Plus, She-Hulk staying on Disney Plus. I'm not saying they couldn't be good movies,
totally,
but I think they work better as shows.
Making appearances in movies,
sure,
but that's it.
Sure. And she's obviously going to be in the Avengers movie at some point. I don't know. Maybe they'll do Daredevil in there. I don't know. But again, I agree. I think it's much more appealing to have these characters be street level and build that up. And
I just don't understand how I just don't understand any guys who are watching this show and aren't just fall in love with She-Hulk. Like, she's, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
Tatiana Maslany continues to be the best thing about the show.
Obviously the actress herself is very attractive and funny and self-deprecating and brash. I love her like salty attitude about shit. But when she's
I also
She-Hulk,
find it funny that she wears a man's suit
right
to work. And then I will say, I think most of the complaints about the CG are because of she's in a suit. I think the suit makes her look blocky.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of takes people's out of it with the CG. Because in that final scene, she looks great.
Yeah.
And when she's in the dress and everything, and she the model looks good. I was like, okay. So and again, it looks great in motion. Like, and that's what's so weird. It's so on and off about this show, and I understand it's probably budgetary stuff, but there's just
could it be that they tried to keep the suit real and put CGI inside of it?
Well,
you know what I mean?
I imagine the dress is probably. Oh no, I see what you're saying. Yeah. They try to make the
because we've seen
motion capture.
We've seen, for instance, Thanos. What Josh Brolin looked
he
like.
wore the head thing.
Right, but he had the thing. Right. Okay, but I'm just saying, is that a possibility? Is that why it looks so blocky?
It could be her in the suit because I was watching the behind the scenes.
Or no, that they have like
I was watching behind the scenes on
skeleton above her holding the suit up.
No, she's just in a motion capture suit. I think, that. But there's like a little.
You know
head.
what I'm saying? Okay, whatever.
No, because they showed the picture of her twerking with Megan Thee Stallion in a motion capture suit. But what I was trying to say
I still think is hilarious.
What I was trying to say was Korg, I was watching behind the scenes of Love and Thunder, and Taika's CG suit, he has the CG suit on, but like the shoulder pads and armor that Korg was wearing was practical.
That's what I'm saying.
So that's what I think. I think the suit is probably a little bit more practical.
Maybe that's why it looks more blocky. Yeah.
But she looked like, I think her character model looked great in the final fight. Like I think she looked really good. Was she just going on like speed dates? Why was she in the same dress?
Speed dates.
I don't know. There's also people complaining, the same people that, again, I want to bring this up and I want to make it very brief because I don't want to talk about these people anymore when I talk about a show that I like. But there's also people saying, like, again, she's objective. The guy that she takes home, They accuse her of objectifying her, and they're like, well, you're mad about being catcalled, but you objectify this guy. And I'm like, brother, they don't correlate at all. One is you're going on a date with this person because most of the time when people go on dates as adults, they aim to fuck. Or a good time, but most of the time they're probably trying to have sex. That's just the culture we live in now. We live in, and they talk about it on the show, we live in the swipe culture now.
And haven't you guys referred to women as cows and whores?
And to compare that to some woman just walking on the street and or being, I don't know, like AOC and saying, "Oh, you're my favorite big booty Latina," and harassing her, like that's totally fine. She deserved that because she's attractive. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
She deserved that because
and she's woke.
She deserved that because she went on a date and had sex with someone. Shut the fuck up. Shut up.
It's.
But again, Madison was great. I think it was funny because again, these guys that claim to hate this show should love this show because they talk and complain about all the male caricatures. There's a female caricature in this episode. Yeah. Madison is a character, and it's funny.
Yes.
They're mocking that.
Yes. Exactly what you guys purport to hate about women.
Right, exactly.
Or that type of woman.
She's a valley girl, party girl that they're making fun of.
They completely miss
She's always drunk in every scene she's in.
Pretty much, yeah.
Madison, two N's and a Y, but not where you think. Like, come on. Like, that's clearly a character, like her fucking lawyer that she worked with, the other lawyer she worked with. And they should like it because, again, it's good comedy because it's taking shots at everything.
We've talked about this off the air. If this was the Wonder Man show,
it'd be totally different, yeah.
They would still find a way to hate it because it's the MCU, and they get clicks when they say they hate anything MCU.
Rage is algorithm friendly.
Sure. So here's what, I mean, if it was Wonder Man, they wouldn't be having the same arguments at all. It would be different arguments, and we've talked about also how they're pissed about Rings of Power, how it's inclusive.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, dude.
Which, oh my god, dude, you talk about. Look, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, it's fine.
You just burped.
It's not your fault. It's just wow, we're really, really close together.
Well, and I'm struggling breathing right now because allergies are kicking my ass.
But I like the episode, and
yeah.
Again, you want arguments for why it's great. Again, it hits all the notes of the character. Anybody who's read and is a big fan of She-Hulk, like I am, and you'll know that it hits all the notes that the character should hit.
Another thing I love about this episode,
better than a lot of MCU characters.
And another thing I loved about this episode, and I feel like this show keeps getting better with each episode, is it simultaneously feels something completely out of the MCU, but at the same time totally fits inside the MCU.
Right, yeah.
And the humor is really that reason behind that.
Do you remember we talked about like the first couple episodes of Daredevil season 1? Like almost the first entire season, they kept referring to things that happened in the MCU, but they never really went past references, right?
Yeah.
That's what, and we talked about this either last week or a couple weeks ago. That's what I think Feige wants to do with She-Hulk.
Yeah, I think he's starting to split the Disney Plus shows.
Like this is what when we first started doing Daredevil with Netflix. The plan was to make it all street level. Yeah. That referenced each other, and maybe they made appearances, but then Netflix fucked that up for some reason or something.
I think there's still like what I look at it as,
or they canceled the shows or whatever.
I look at it as like you know how we talk about we had the topic a while back where we talked about like if we ever think that they'll make separate studios, like how they have like Black Label and
right,
Marvel Knights or Max or whatever.
They might,
I think that is what we're gonna see. Like, I still think we're gonna have things like Secret Invasion and Armor Wars
that are
gonna be attached to the mainline stuff.
Sure.
But I think we're also going to see Disney Plus kind of evolve, like the Disney Plus shows kind of evolve into their own things. Like I was talking about before, where Daredevil and She-Hulk are going to be in universe, but they're going to be at such different levels and different things, and maybe they'll cross over into the bigger stuff.
Right.
But you're going to have like one. I think what they're going to start doing is do like event shows and regular shows, which I think would be. That's why I think Daredevil is 18 episodes. I think that's why She-Hulk is 9 episodes. They're going to be like, okay, these are very clearly going to be TV shows. They're not going to be the super long feeling movies that the other shows have been, other than WandaVision. Because and I think the two best ones were probably WandaVision and Loki for me. She-Hulk is probably.
I really liked Miss Marvel a lot more than I thought, and again, I got caught off guard because I completely forgot about it.
It's the same for me. It's the same thing as every other Marvel show. I was really into it, and then I kind of fell off. I think
you remember how much we loved Moon Knight, and now I think back on it, I barely remember it.
No, I don't hate it.
I don't think. It just was kind of there was so many wasted opportunities, and every time there was a cliffhanger at the end of an episode, you're like, "Ooh, this is gonna happen next episode."
But you were gonna ask me a question about Secret Invasion, right? You were gonna say because
Werewolf
by Night.
What was that rated? Did it say on the preview?
I don't know, but
I'm willing to bet it's got to be TVM.
It's at least well, I don't think they're gonna go that far.
14 at least.
I would say TV 14, which is the equivalent to a PG-13. I don't know. I think that's exciting, dude. That looked fun.
Let's get into that. Let's get into some D23 shit.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
She-Hulk, loved it. Best episode yet. I can't wait.
It keeps getting better, and I know I'm hedging my bets a little bit just because we just talked about Moon Knight. How much I loved Moon Knight while it was on.
Right.
Now I think back on it, and I'm like, wow, there's so many missed opportunities, and what's going to happen with the character and everything. I've heard he's supposed to be in Captain America 4, which we talked about.
Rumor mill.
My fingers.
I have heard that as well, that he might be in New World Order.
So, but I really do like She-Hulk, and again, as a longtime fan of the character, and particularly the John Byrne run from the late 80s, early 90s, I love everything that the show has done to kind of hit those beats, those story beats, and those character beats and everything. Honestly, it's okay if you don't like it, but I really got to question why.
Yeah,
because it's not the writing. Again, the writing is really, really good, and it's funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see. Well, that's not. I mean, it's so subjective, but
it is.
I agree. I've enjoyed a lot of it. I could see there being some criticisms of it. I could see how some people that aren't chuds. I do think there are some people that might feel that some of the messaging might be a little heavy-handed sometimes. But other than that, I don't.
It's not a perfect show.
No,
I'm not saying that, but I mean,
I want to wrap it up by saying I love her fourth wall breaks.
Yeah,
the more we see, the more because when she makes the Twitter armor joke, it's so funny, and it's like that article you shared from CBR.
Yes,
where they can almost real time respond to that.
I wanted to read that segment because it was from Katie Dahl of CBR. I
think you talked about her before.
I think we might.
She was the one who said, "I'm all for the MCU" or whatever.
Yeah.
I was gonna take a sip of beer, but I guess I'll vamp.
Yeah, no, you can.
Saturday night, and I'm drinking.
So, she wrote an article which was really great, and she's talking about. The article was about how people are upset that Sopranos was spoiled.
Oh my
god!
And
it's just
up.
and the tone of the article is basically like, shut your fucking mouth.
I mean, that show's been out since 2001. Shut up.
But she said something in one paragraph that really brought it home to me exactly why these people are so wrong about She-Hulk and why we can easily prove it. And it's this. By being a comedy where Jen often breaks the fourth wall, the show can openly address the misogyny and mistreatment of women that is still seen in the Marvel fan base.
Yeah.
And that's an article on CBR by Katie Dahl. And that's why these people hate the show, because anytime somebody who isn't them, who isn't white or male or Christian, in the case of probably Star Wars girl, if anybody who isn't them, they don't want them empowered because they think that there's a culture war and whites are slow. So, hey, Jake, what race are you?
I believe they would say white.
Yeah,
Caucasian.
I'm pasty white, and I can tell you right now, I don't feel like white people are being erased. Because.
I don't even got a joke for that.
Well, no, I mean, don't you think? The fact that more minority characters and creators and everything are being seen more and in better, better instances, more opportunities to be seen and everything, that doesn't erase white people.
Nope.
It just makes our world a lot better. And there's so many more stories that we're going to learn and hear about, like the great, what was it called in Miss Marvel? The Great Divide, the Great Partition.
Yeah.
Never heard about that before. That's really interesting that we got to see that type of stuff. And I mean, anybody who doesn't want to broaden their minds and just wants to stay in fucking Tennessee bumfuck, USA and read the Bible and fuck their cousin. I mean, that's fine, I guess, but
well, not the
there's so much more in the world than just, you know, fucking your cousin and drinking moonshine until you're blind.
Well, that's the truth. I don't want to be right.
Yeah, I guess it would be Guinness for Potato Head Mr. Man in England.
Think of the comedy. Yeah, so I love that episode. Can't wait for more. It's pretty good.
So what's next?